Good evening and welcome to the Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Regular Meeting for Tuesday, November the 5th, I believe it is today. Would you please join me in having the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Knorr, and we will also have an invocation by Jim Stiegel with Community Christian Fellowship.
Y'all would join me, please, as we salute the flag of the United States of America. Salute and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shall we pray? Father in heaven, tonight we come to you in thanks, first of all, for your great love for us, for the many blessings you give us. We thank you especially for the city that we live in, for its rich blessings, as well as the much potential that is here, Father. Father, we thank you indeed for citizens who are willing to do their best for our city, Father. We turn this time of this meeting over to you. Father, may those decisions be done with your wisdom and with your guidance, and and all that happens will be what is best for the city of Taft, and we'll give you the thanks and the praise. And we pray it in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Stiegel and Councilman Knorr. I appreciate it, and I do appreciate the fact that the room was full tonight. It always sounds much better when there's a crowd here. So, could we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Linder.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Councilmember Knorr.
Here.
And Councilmember Waldron.
Here.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda tonight is a public hearing, and we will, it's dealing with a contract with NSM Incorporated for demolition of a structure located at 134 Kern Street and placement of lien on said property. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Code enforcement staff identified a structure that was in a dangerous state of disrepair due to a fire and determined that it was necessary to demolish the structure. Code enforcement staff sent all appropriate notices and followed all legal processes. There was no response from the owner over a several-month period, and is deemed necessary to demolish said structure and seek reimbursement by placing a lien on the property.
Thank you. At this time, I will conduct a public hearing, and I will open the hearing and invite anybody wishing to speak in favor of or in opposition to this issue. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution titled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft authorizing city manager to execute a contract with NSM Incorporated in the amount of $5,000 for demolition and abatement of 134 Kern Street, Taft, California, and placement of a lien on said property."
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Knorr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't believe I've made any secret of the fact that I believe that if you're going to own property in the city of Taft and hopefully you're going to be a responsible property owner, you need to take pride in what you do and where you live and where we all live, as well as make sure that any property that you do own is safe for the community. This is another example of an irresponsible landlord, irresponsible property owner, and the people and the city of Taft had to clean up the mess. So it's unfortunate. It's not the end. There are others out in the city that we're going to have to clean up, and I've got to tell you that local government and unincorporated areas have been working diligently to do the same. So it's a shame that we have to do this, but it is necessary. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Waldron.
Well, with everything that Councilman Norris said, I'd like to add that I've been getting comments on how Taft is starting to improve, and it's a good feeling hearing that, and I'd like to continue improving. So everybody should do their part. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Miller.
Well, it's just a shame that this $5,000 coming out of our general fund, and we have to wait and wait and wait to, when the property sells, to get reimbursed back. And it's too bad this homeowner won't take care of the property and that we have to take such action. But it is on Kern Street, and it is our main thoroughfare, and we want to make it presentable, so that's why we're taking this action.
Thank you. Mr. Cryer.
I have no comment.
And I will concur with the comments that have been made tonight. Mr. Jones, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but It seems like some time back, there was a resolution passed by the city council that once a residence falls off the books on Kern Street, that it can't be a residence again. Do any of you remember that?
Well, it depends on the size of the lot.
Is that what it, okay.
Yeah,
I just
without-
something.
Without a variance, but it would be determined by our,
If there was non-occupancy of the house, it could turn into a commercial, like some of the lawyers have done over on H Street in Bakersfield, where they
Right.
take a house and make a commercial.
I just thought there was something, because people were keeping their water meters active even on some of the rundown places, because that would prevent the property from defaulting into a commercial zone instead of being residential.
possibly when the zoning changed, they were trying to stay grandfathered
Okay.
into the
All
old
right.
zoning.
Just a curiosity, so. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember North,
Yes.
Councilmember Waltrip,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer,
Yes.
Mayor Linder.
Yes, thank you. Item number 2, citizens' request for public comments. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. The council may receive council may receive comment and set it for a matter for a subsequent meeting, and we ask that you please limit your comments to 5 minutes, and the first person wishing to speak.
Well, Mr. Mayor, before we start, since we got such a nice crowd tonight, I'm sure there's a lot of cell phones in the audience,
Oh,
and might ask you to check your cell phones and put them on vibrate or silence, please.
thank you, Mr. Miller. I forgot that part. It's hard enough for me to remember to turn my own off, so. Anyway, the first person wishing to speak tonight is Sarah Higginbottom, and it's with APA contract item number 16 on our agenda. It's about.
I will hold my comments
Oh.
until that item is up.
Oh, that's fine. Absolutely. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Next person is Kathy Oren with the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, good evening, gentlemen. It's nice to see you. I want to thank you, many of you who supported actively the Chamber of Commerce Golf Tournament that was held, a little over a week ago. We were very successful in our attempt to have a fundraiser. So I thank you, and I thank the folks that supported us by playing and those who supported us by being sponsors. We made $12,000, and that's a big deal for us. So thank you to everyone. I want to remind folks that the Trout Fishing Derby is coming up November 16th at Buena Vista. We have entries, forms at the Chamber, at Bob's Bait Bucket, and just about every place that you can buy bait in Bakersfield. So there's no excuse not to get your form into us. That's always a very exciting time. So it's November 16th. I want to remind everyone about the postcard contest that's happening, due in 1 week, 4x6 pictures in different categories, some of them oil field related, Oil Dorado related, oil worker monument related, people related, events related, and we even have a category for folks that have found historical pictures of Taft. Don't really know who took the picture perhaps, don't really know exactly what time it was taken, but those will be fun to be postcards. So we encourage folks to join that contest. Those entry forms are also available, some of them at Taft High, some at the Chamber, of course, and the Taft Camera Club, who will serve as judges, also have entry forms. So we're real excited about that. We're getting into the season. Christmas Parade is Monday, December 2nd at 6 p.m. on Center Street. The following Friday, the businesses on Center Street will be open late for some first-minute shopping. And Saturday, December 7th is the traditional Seroptimus Home Tour and Luncheon. We all look forward to that. Well, we ladies all look forward to that. Monday, December 16th at Westside Furniture, Pictures with Santa. Actually, that's 16. That will probably not be a 16. Oh, maybe it is. It is? Okay. Westside Furniture, that's Pictures with Santa, and that is free of charge, and that was hugely anticipated and a lot of fun last year. So this is just the beginning. There are tons of things going on in our fair city during the holidays, and we ask you to get involved. The 20th of November is the All Service Clubs Luncheon, and that generally is the time when a lot of canned goods and money is collected for Thanksgiving baskets that are supplied by the Resource Center. So we want to remind folks that if you know a Kiwanian, a Seroptimus, a Lions Club member, and I've forgotten somebody. Rotarian. How could I forget?
Show her the pin, show her the pin.
Oh, my gosh. You know, if I were a Rotarian, that would be a $1,000 fine. But anyway, these service clubs are really so active in our community, and they're very responsible for most of what goes in those Thanksgiving baskets. And we encourage people to contribute. If you don't know where to drop something off, you can drop it off at the chamber, or you can just talk to a service club person. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Thanks for all you do. The next person wishing to speak is Sandy Popejoy with the Buena Vista, I believe it's still the Buena Vista Mobile Home Park, correct? Come on down. Sandy, if you would state your address, your name and address, and then you may proceed, please.
My name is Sandy Popejoy. I live at 505 Sierra Street here in Taft. I prepared some packets for each of the councilmen and the mayor. Actually, I'm here tonight representing the Buena Vista Mobile Home Park Homeowners Association. And all of these fine folks behind you are also from the mobile home park. I believe the mobile home park was built in the 70s, and I'm not exactly sure how many spaces it has, but it has over maybe 120, 125, and I think there are probably 15 to 20 that are empty. It's located, in a really nice area of town. It is, the front entrance is off of 10th, and the back entrance is right off of Lassen. And with the Nazarene Church and the Rec District, real close. The majority of the residents are senior citizens in all levels. We got newbies, like myself, and we have, as we get into our middle 70s, I guess that would be the middle, and then we have the upper level, the really grand people that are in their 80s and some of them even 90s. And we thought it would be very apropos to come here and talk with you folks, because we know all the work that you do to make our community something that we can be proud of, and a safe community, and that because of that, and because we are some of the people that helped elect you, and because some of you are business owners, and that can look at the perspective of the business owner that we are having a problem with. I think that you'll all be able to be objective. However, what we would like to do is have some support from you. In the beginning, I believe Bob Colston built the mobile home park, and it was very well maintained, and it was safe, and lots of good people there. There were there were families, and there were also senior citizens. At this time, I'm not sure, but I believe about 90% of the of the community there are considered senior citizens. And what has happened is there have been owner after owner, and right now the owner is a corporation that its business address is in Carson City, Nevada, and hasn't demonstrated any quality of life concerns or respect for the residents there. As far as the maintenance, there basically is no maintenance, and I think you have a picture in there. I just kind of gave everybody different pictures in your packet that, I don't know if any of you ever drive by on Lassen, and just looking at the retainer wall, it's terrible. It's an awful repair. Nothing's been done to it in years and years, and it's really an eyesore. It's also, it's two colors. So we've got a pink and we've got a white all through the park, which, guys may not think it's a big deal, but really it shows a lack of care. How would you like to have a fence, that's pink and then, for part of it, and the next part is white and then pink and not kept up. The roads are deteriorating. I know in front of my mother, who lives there at the park, in front of her driveway, I have to be real careful because there's so much gravel and black tar that I will bring that into her house. Another lady was telling me the other day that she can't help her grandmother walk in that area anymore because there's so many pits in the road, and it's dangerous. What has happened is that it is very, very poorly maintained. Even the owner has even cut costs so much that he doesn't have a pool man, to regulate the chemicals and everything in the pool. And we've even had residents that have swam there. The manager does the best job he can, but they'll break out in a rash and be ill. The first page, I think, of your packet will kind of explain, will give you the year and then the rent, how much it went up, what percentage it went up that year, and it'll give you the average Social Security benefit amount, because that's what most folks depend on there. And then it will give you the COLA, the cost of living increase that Social Security will give, and then the difference between what the space rent was raised and what the COLA was. This year, or in 2014, we hear that we're going to have the Social Security will be giving COLAs of 1.5%, and the space rent was raised 7.9%. So basically, we have information that compiled. The average monthly SSA benefit has increased $152.73 since 2008. But the Buena Vista Mobile Home Park rate increases have taken, this says 81, it's actually 84% of the total increase. So it really, people are strapped. And this year, there was a $35 increase, $35.18, and that was just an awful a lot of money. And it could even be that people are weighing their necessities like groceries and contemplating whether or not they're going to be able to buy all of that. However, people wouldn't complain as much if there was some maintenance, if we knew that the roads were going to be paved, if we knew that things were going to be repaired, if we knew that the retaining wall, which is actually falling in some areas, it's a real safety hazard, would be repaired. And just like with you gentlemen that have businesses and all of us own homes, we have to do regular maintenance to keep those things up. So we have to spend a little capital to keep those in running order. We all agree that business owners need to make money on their investments, but we're wondering how much, and whether, and we feel it's fair to have a well-maintained environment. But the owner will not even respond to us. We've written letters, we've called, but basically as a captive audience. And we've been told, that the owner has said, well, you know, if you don't want to live there, you can move. Well, we're pretty much a captive audience. Basically, people have sank money into those homes. And moving them, I don't know what the average cost would be, but I would think up to $10,000, but maybe at least $6,000. And then where are we going to move them? And why would we want to? Everyone in the mobile home park want to live in Taft. They want to be good community members. Everybody takes care of their places. They're very proud of that. But when you look around and the owner will not invest any money in it, it actually can get pretty dismal. This isn't just happening in Taft, and I'm sure you guys know that it's happening everywhere. And there are one of the things that, as I was looking at things, I was a little concerned about is that some of the utility fees, the refuge and street sweeping, which is charged on a monthly basis and goes in with a space rent, is Buena Vista Mobile Home Park, since 2003 and 2004, has been charging $16.81 a month. City of Taft charges $13.20 a month. That's a difference of $3.61. Now, for the new increases of the city, the increase for the refuge in street sweeping is $17.83, and Buena Vista is charging, starting 2014, $18.84. So that's a difference of $1.01 each month. Now, the sewer rates are even, they're really surprising. The city, since 96 and 97, have been charging $20.57 a month. Buena Vista Mobile Home Park, up until recently, has charged $22.37, and in fact, they're still charging that. With the increase, the city increase was up to $21.20, and Buena Vista is charging us $26.56 per month. I don't know if that's legal. I looked in the civil code. I really couldn't find whether or not it was legal, but I know that it was something that you folks would be interested in. In the civil code, I probably don't have much more time, do I?
Well, you're speaking for the group, so I'm certainly allowing you more time, and you just go ahead.
Thank you. Let me see. In the civil code, it actually says that a city government cannot control the maximum that is charged for, a mobile home park. However, we haven't retained an attorney. We're hoping that we don't have to do that. But there are a couple loopholes, and again, I don't know that those will be validated or not. But a lot of cities are doing it. And I did some research on the internet, and Palmdale has actually a city ordinance now and they have a mobile home rent control committee, because their residents were just really having hikes and having to move out and leave their mobile homes there because they couldn't afford to move them and all that. Also, there is a list, and it looks like I did not bring it, but I do have it. I think there's 9 cities in California that do have some rent control. El Monte, at this time, is moving towards the mobile home rent control. And a lot of this is because the majority of the residents are senior citizens, and those folks are our community members. And and we would have a lot more people here tonight, except that a lot of them, their health really doesn't allow them to do that, or maybe they're not able to drive. Anyways, I included some of this information for you. The Los Angeles Times says that in Santa Clarita and Antelope Valley, they're looking at mobile home rent laws, and the city council is. Right now, I know you guys have a lot of things going on. I know that this is lots of legalities involved, but if we could have your support, even by writing a letter to the corporation and the representative that owns the park, it would be helpful. To have you support us enough to endorse, what we're trying to do. What we want to do is the same thing that all you folks want to do. We do not want we want the Buena Vista Mobile Home Park to be continue to once again be a nice place to live. That's what we want, and that's in the owner's best interest. That's in the residents' best interest, because if the owner, pretty soon no one's going to live there, and we don't want that. We want to be able to have good people continue to live there and have a community there, but. Again, we're just frustrated. We would like to talk with the owner. We'd like to negotiate with them. We want this to be a win-win situation. We know that they're going to have to make money. We accept that, but again, there's lots of other things that have gone up, but 81% of our cost of living adjustments for Social Security has been taken up by space rents since 2008, and we think that is excessive. So rather than get a lot of negative press and people who won't move into the mobile home park, we want the owner to understand that it's in his best interest also, and we want it to be, once again, a nice place to live, a safe place to live. And again, we would be happy to meet with any of you that are interested in this, and I know you'll have to talk about it, and I'm available, and we actually have the panel set up so that we can talk with the owner, but he has not even responded to us. And so again, it's move away. Move. If you don't like it, move. Well, we really don't want to do that. We really want to make it better and make it a good place to live again. So, that's it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
If I could, and Sandy, you don't live in the mobile home park, but
You know what, my mother does,
Okay,
but I own the mobile home
And that's
she lives
fine.
in. Yeah.
And you may be a perfect one to do this. What I would ask you to do is first of all, I'd like you to kind of develop a little package for our city attorney to look at. Now,
Okay.
I don't believe he's in a position to give you guys legal advice, but I think he could at least suggest some things, like if you could present him with a copy of a standard rental agreement,
Okay.
and a breakdown. I don't know how your billing comes across, if it actually has.
We have that.
Okay.
I'll give that to you.
So your monthly bill that shows the breakdown of sewer and refuse, because I do believe that if they're charging more, I don't know if there's a legal precedent for becoming a utility within a utility, I don't know. And then there was one other thing that I was going to ask you to do. Oh, and I'd like to know a count of occupied spaces in the mobile home park, because
Okay.
I don't know if the city is charging sewer and refuse based on each space or each active space.
That could
You
be
see what I'm
also.
saying?
Uh-huh.
Because if it's charging sewer on every space, which is a connection, and I understand that, then basically the rest of you are paying for
Are
the
absorbing that.
Yeah, you're absorbing the cost of that.
And is that legal?
We don't know.
You know?
We don't know. I think it's great that you have a group that you guys are getting together and coming together, but I'm thinking my biggest thing is that there's got to be something in that rental agreement that should address grievances.
Well, there is in the civil code, it spells out our rights, but it does not say that we have a right to negotiate
Oh, okay.
the space rental.
And I would be, at a minimum, I would be willing to have staff draft a letter to the corporation asking them from the mayor and from the council to please address your concerns, please show up and talk to the people that are sending checks, because I'm guessing in most rental agreements, if the landlord doesn't provide what he's supposed to provide, and that may be arbitration, that you could legally stop paying your rent.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'd be more comfortable if your group would petition the council by a letter.
Sure.
Asking us to write this letter to, the corporation, blah, 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 and signed by the members in the park that are for this.
Okay,
And it can be your association. It doesn't have to be every member in the park, but
Right, yeah.
we're trying to formalize it a little bit. And by doing just what Mr. Miller said, we'll formalize it enough to where we can then ask staff to do a little bit of looking. Again, I can't tell you that we can put our legal expertise to work on it, because I don't know if we could do that. In fact, I wouldn't want to probably do that, but we might be able to see a few chinks in the armor that would get them back to the table and talk to you.
Also, I am assuming then that you do not have an on-site manager?
we do.
Or you do? But they're not maintenance persons?
Yeah, and he can do the small maintenance, but, the things like I'm talking about, you'd have to have a road crew in and...
So in your letter to the council, outline the things that are upsetting you.
Okay.
The roads, this and that, and so that we have something to petition the owner and say, hey, it's come to our attention that this is being neglected, this is being neglected, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay,
Then we'll have a formal process. Before we can do anything, we have to bring it to the council for approval to send the letter out.
okay, we'll do that. And we'll get that done, the letter done, and then I can, for the city attorney, I can...
Later on, we
bring you the
have
info.
part of our agenda where we can add for future agenda items, and I'm sure one of us will ask that this item be put on a future agenda,
Okay,
and then we can deal with it more formally then.
okay, thank you very much.
Okay, gentlemen,
Appreciate it.
Mr. Nora?
Indeed, Mr. Mayor, if I may, you made mention of the fact that there are some conditions that exist there that you believe to be a hazard to the people. All right, well, if something is a hazard, then there's the possibility that could mean code enforcement would have to get involved. If those hazards exist to the detriment of the people,
Okay.
then those things can be addressed a different way.
Okay, so we have some options. Thank you for your time and your interest.
And it's more than okay to be specific in your request to the council.
Okay.
If it's potholes, if it's the walls cracked, if it's trees not trimmed, give us everything that really concerns you, that you feel as tenants that you're entitled to for your monthly rent.
Okay.
And there will be things in there that we probably can't address, but there may be, as Mr. Noren and actually Mr. Cryer had whispered in my ear just a few minutes ago, that if it's code issues, we could certainly help you there too.
Okay,
All right?
okay, thanks once again.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you all being here tonight, and typically, when we have a large group like this, we'll take a 2 or 3 minute break so that you can all leave if you would like to. You're welcome to stay, but I understand if you don't want to stay here for this exciting evening.
Let me see what all I
So
have here.
we're going to recess for about 2
Yes.
minutes.
He said we'll watch it on TV.
Okay, thank you. We will reconvene, and we will move on to item number 3, which is council statements non-action. Mr. Miller.
Caught me unawares here, I'm sorry. Tonight, we're going into closed session, and we've got some heavy discussions going on in there. It's too bad that we've come to that, and have to come to that, but hopefully we'll have some good news out of it. I do want to thank all those folks that came down here. I wish they would have stayed and enjoyed the rest of our meeting. Being involved in Taft, if they want us to be involved with them, we'd like that interaction back too. So hopefully they'll come back, and anybody's invited to come down and enjoy our council meetings the first and third Tuesdays of the month. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Very nice. Mr. Waldrop.
A friend of mine came into the shop, and he was very upset that nighttime he drives down mostly at the what would it be, the west end of Kern. And kids are walking across, I see, that would be, I imagine it would be like 7th Street. Could be 8th also. And they're wearing black, and you hardly can see them. And he came close to getting this one girl by the time he noticed she was right there. So I need to specify, everybody, keep your eyes open. And folks, make your kids wear something other than black, please. That's all I have to say.
That's great advice. Mr. Cryer?
Thank you, Mayor. Like I'll say in the past, lots to do in Taft, especially during the weekends and things during the week. We had cruise night. We had a lot of activities getting ready for Christmas. Nothing happened Saturday I want to share with you. I participated in a safety fair last Saturday, held at the Rec Hall, and put on by Occidental of Elk Hills, and with the Red Cross. And about safety, about fires and stuff. And if they had like 6 different stations to take classes on, each one's like 15 minutes long. And you completed the course, you got a little goodie bag. Want to share a little bit, what you get just by participating in there. You know, I was kind of surprised I even got one. I got a fire extinguisher for everybody to have their home.
Wow.
Nice, good size fire extinguisher.
I need that.
Here you go.
Yeah.
You can have that.
You know, and it's about, home safety, planning a route from home, get a little brochure, stand up, don't mind.
Absolutely.
You have a little plan to get your route to escape from your house or bedroom, where to meet at, and it's all kind of information. They even give you a smoke alarm, carbon dioxide monitor deal. That's battery too.
Batteries
You know, a flashlight, you by your bed, so if it's nighttime, you can find a way out. There's a smoke detector, and also you got a little surge protector, a storm and stuff. And they had nice classes, how to do CPR, not the full-blown CPR, but the one for the chest compression, where you do about 100 chest compressions in a minute, get the blood flowing. And I got a simple procedure people can do, about compressing about 2 inches on the chest about 100 times, and it'll help arise. A really good class there that Elk Hills put on, sponsored it, and the Red Cross. I was really impressed on how they did it. And they were talking about doing it again, hopefully soon, but they do it once a year. So I encourage everybody, they do it again, they see it in the paper, sign up for it. It's well worth it, because hopefully the people who participated, hopefully they may be able to save somebody's life, their own family members, or somebody in the public. You never know, with all activities happening and everything, the life you save will be a relative. But anyway, that's why I went, and I had a great time, and I just encourage everybody, and want to thank Elk Hills and Occidental for putting it on. And that's all I have.
Very good, thank you. Mr. North?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry Dr. Oren seems to have left the building. We still have Mr. Dr. Oren in the building. Ron. Yeah, he has his own identity. People, I know I'm always Dave or DJ Nor's dad sometimes, but anyway, I wanted to comment. The other day I had just a few minutes to grab some fast food and eat lunch, and so I had no place to go, so I grabbed the fast food and I went to the Oil Workers Monument and sat down there. It was a beautiful day. I want to compliment city staff on the job they're doing keeping up the Rails to Trails area, the Oil Workers Monument. They're doing more and more with less, and they're still making it happen. So hats off to city staff. But after I had eaten, I always take a walk around the monument, and I still marvel at the faces of the characters that are a part of that. And I noticed that all the bricks are in place. I don't know if any of you out there procrastinated and thought perhaps this will be the year that I buy a brick for a loved one as a part of the Oil Workers Monument. The main monument itself, there's no places left. They just have to put the filler in and the final grout, and the entire large portion all around the derrick floor is filled up. It is filled up. They are sold, and it is done, and it is beautiful. I wanted to compliment the chamber who has taken over the duties of selling those and putting them in, and here it is. It's filled up. Now, I do believe, and I was going to ask Dr. Orrin if the plan is to go ahead and put bricks around the statue of the mother and the child, because it is stamped the same way that the main Derek floor is. I believe that's part of the plan as well, but I know we thought in the beginning, man, how are you ever going to fill that up? Well, we did it. We did it. I mean, the people of Taft and the people who come to Taft and want to be a part of the Oil Workers Monument, congratulations. You're a part of it. You're in there and part of it for perpetuity, and so it's a wonderful thing. I don't know how often people go there and take advantage of it and the marvelous park atmosphere, but I do anytime I have an opportunity, and it is something that this community can be proud of, very proud of. So I just want to thank staff for the job they're doing. And also, before you know it, Christmas is going to be here. Now, I personally don't like talking about Christmas until after Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. But I was at a store in downtown Taft just the other night enjoying Friday Cruise Night, along with a bunch of the other council members who were down there. And this one store in particular has embraced the Christmas spirit and the most incredible selection of custom decorated Christmas trees you have ever seen. Matter of fact, I was so thrilled I bought one on the spot. I told my wife, don't bother decorating one, we'll take that one right there. So Christmas is already here, they're ahead of the game. Take the time to look and spend your money in Taft, be a part of Taft, and if you can keep it in this city, let's just do that, because the energy and the skills and the creative juices are flowing in downtown Taft, so be a part of it, take advantage of it. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Knorr. The only one I have is I received a card in the mail from the Taft Camera Club and the West Kern Oil Museum, and it's an invitation, and they asked that I invite the community to experience their 80th anniversary of the Taft Camera Club. Saving Our Heritage Through Art and Photography will be held at the West Kern Oil Museum at 1168 Wood Street, Taft, California, on Saturday, November 16th. The time is from 1 to 3:30. There will be a photo exhibit and slideshow, and light refreshments will be served. So again, there's always something to do in Taft. And that concludes my comments tonight. So we will move on to item number 4, which is department reports. See Chief Whiting sauntering to the microphone. I almost said swagger. I was thinking John Wayne. I don't know, what did John Wayne do? Did he swagger or did he?
He had a very special walk. John Wayne had a very special walk. So did Clint Eastwood.
He what?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. As you know, I was not here last council session. I was out of town attending a training conference in South Lake Tahoe for our report management system. It was the 17th annual conference, both for administrators such as myself, which I've never been to one, and for my administrative assistant, Chris Carpenter, who helps us to keep our computer-aided dispatch and report management system up and running with all the specific updates that we have to do. I was able to learn quite a bit. I wanted to share with the council. We're using only about 35% of its potential. I found out there are some things that we can upgrade for free that we have not been using that we will start using. One of the things that we have available to us is the RIMS mapping. So when you call us on the phone, we can see right where you are, whether it's on a cell phone or a regular phone. That's coming about the first of the year after we upgrade to RIMS 20. And learned quite a bit. I did not know about our RIMS system. I started, of course, as a user back in, well, we won't go that far back, but as a user, I know how to write reports and do traffic accidents and review case files and assign detectives case files and things like that and send complaints to the DA. But the nuts and bolts, the back end of it, I did not know as much until I went to this conference, and I learned quite a bit about. Basically, I learned a lot, and I wanted to share with you the fact that we're going to be looking at our system a lot more carefully to make sure we're using it at a lot higher capacity than we currently are now. And what that really equates to is we can provide a better level of service to our citizens, both in crime prevention and looking at all the stats and the crime reports that we can generate, but the mapping. We can see on a map where everything's at. and focus our attention on those things that we need to focus on for areas that are driven by specific types of crime. And it's a very powerful program, and I learned a lot about that. The other thing I wanted to tell the council about was that in the last 2 weeks, I've been doing quite a bit of traveling, twice to Sacramento. One of them you know about, where we went to meet with CDCR on the contract. And then again this last Thursday, I went again because I had to go meet with Joe Moss at CDCR and talk about staffing requirements. But I was invited to yet another meeting. This particular meeting was the new director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, James Comey. He's the newly installed director. He was visiting the Eastern District, and he came to the Sacramento office. I was invited last month just simply as a meet and greet. Only 30 chiefs and or sheriffs were invited to the meeting, and you could only be there by invitation. And I felt very privileged to just be there. So I went there and with the idea that I would just sit in the very back amongst all these other sheriffs and chiefs who are from San Jose and San Francisco and from Sacramento and Stockton and
Chief,
big sheriffs. And
Chief, you have 4 stars too, so.
yeah, but they all have people in excess of 300,000 people, and we have 9,000 people. And so these people are, you know, I don't want to say above my pay grade, but
They're politicians.
Huh?
They're politicians.
Yes, they clearly are politicians. But I decided to sit in the back of the room, which turned out to be a huge mistake because it was video conference, and that's right where the camera is. And as I found out, I was set up by my fellow friends at the FBI because, as some of you know, since we had our shooting here in Taft back in last January, we put together an after-action report. And the after-action report basically contains some lessons learned that we're able to pass on to other agencies. Earlier in the year, I was invited to come and teach at the FBI sessions, their workshops, if you will, on active shooter for executives. Each of the sessions lasted 2 days. I had an hour to speak at each one of them for a total of 3 sessions, and apparently it got pretty good reviews because this is the reason why they invited me up there last Thursday, because I received an award from the director of the FBI.
Wow.
And I brought it with you folks tonight to share with the council.
Well deserved.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Chief.
Very nice. Oh, we need 5 copies of that.
I want mine signed.
As I explained to Tom Osborne at the FBI Sacramento office, when I did it, my idea was to give back for all the years that our office had received all the very generous amounts of training and information from their office, and that I felt I was just giving back. They felt differently otherwise. And so it was kind of a shock because I'm sitting in the back and they called my name. I'm like, huh? That's when I realized I kind of got set up by the staff up there. So very proud, very humbled by it. Never expected to actually meet the director. But seems like a very nice guy. He's 6'8" tall, by the way. Looks like he could palm a basketball with one hand with no issue.
What's his name again?
James Comey, C-O-M-E-Y. Very nice guy, very humble, very sincere, very well spoken. And was able to meet with him, talk with him about the issues related to us down here, and found out that over the years the FBI has been reaching out more to all the agencies within their jurisdictions. And we're just one of those agencies. If you remember, not even a week ago when we had the issue with the envelope up at Albertsons, we got an immediate response from the FBI. In the past, we weren't sure who was running the FBI in our area and whether we could get a response from or even how to get a hold of them. Now we're on a first-name basis with the senior agents, and they respond to us all the time, day or night. And we saw that on the day of the shooting. They were here in our area, and that level of response was echoed by all the sheriffs and the chiefs in that particular meeting with the director, that they've noticed that the FBI has really come around. They're a lot more accessible. They're glad to share resources. They're glad to share information. And I got to tell you, 20 years ago, that was not the case. So it was a really good meeting. And I just thought I would share that with you. And that's all I have.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Congratulations, Chief. You bet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Any other department reports? Yeah, who wants to follow that? We'll move on to city manager statements.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have an update for a few public works projects that will be going out to bid in the near future. We have the Hillard Street Bike Path extension from Morales to Trails to A Street Park along the west side of Hillard Street. We're finishing up the design work on that. That should be going out to bid. We have a Safe Routes to School project. It's for safety enhancements around Taft Union High School, Roosevelt, Lincoln, Taft Primary, and Parkview School, which includes new signage, striping, and ADA improvements around the school. And also, we will be trimming the trees on Center Street next month, so everybody,
Very good.
everyone's aware.
All right, good.
You have your Christmas lights in there from last year, take them down, because they're gonna get whacked.
Might get cut, huh?
Yeah. That's all I have to think.
Didn't put them back up.
Yeah, you'll have to put them back up. Thank you. City attorney statements.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing this evening.
Thank you, sir. Item number 7 is future agenda request. Gentlemen, this is the time and the place to request future agenda items.
Well, I'd ask that we have staff look into the concerns and issues with the Buena Vista Mobile Home Park and report back to us.
We,
All concurrence.
yeah, we're all in concurrence on that.
Doesn't necessarily have to be the next meeting, but
Perhaps just a
when they kind
discussion
of get
item.
their stuff together and we meet with staff.
Okay.
Because we want to do a letter that's right and correct and to the point.
That would probably be a discussion item? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Any other requests, gentlemen?
None, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. And we will move on to the consent calendar, items 8 through 16. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of any of these items unless a member of the city council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Items tonight are item number 8, minutes of October 15th, 2013 regular meeting. Item number 9, payment of bills. 10, permission for 2 police personnel to travel to Prescott, Arizona for 1 night. Seems kind of chancy, doesn't it? Item number 11, permission for Sergeant Shad Swanson to travel to Sparks, Nevada for a California Narcotics Officers Association conference and training. Item number 12 is a resolution approving amendment to the Joint Powers Agreement with Western Riverside Council of Governments to add Taft as an associate member in order to authorize the City of Taft participation in the California HERO, which is Home Energy Renovation Opportunity Program, which will enable property owners to finance permanently fixed renewable energy sources. Item number 13 is a memorandum of understanding between the Bakersfield Police Department and the Taft Police Department. 14, Program Supplement Agreement number 016-N, Agency State Agreement number STPLE-5193, parentheses 035. Item number 15, a motion to accept the completed work by Blackhall Construction for the CMAQ bus shelters, CML-5193, parentheses 032, and authorize the city clerk to file the notice of completion with the Kern County Recorder. Staff further recommends that the release of the 5% retention to the contractor after 30 days pending claims or liens filed during this period. And finally, item number 16 is a grant administration contract with Acquisition Partners. Gentlemen, do you wish any of these items to be pulled from the consent calendar?
I just need to abstain from the minutes, Mr. Mayor. I didn't make hair until after you went into closed session.
Okay, thank you. You know, I know we have representatives here from Acquisition Partners and the HERO program, correct? I would ask that both those items be pulled so that we can hear from them. You guys made the trip up here. I think it would be certainly worth hearing what you have to say. And also, I will be abstaining from item number 15. I should have asked the city attorney of this, but I would just, at this point, I will abstain and I will explain my reasons to him later. So, okay, so we are going to approve, or I'd entertain a motion to approve items number 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 15, that's it. Did I get it? All right. We have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Computer wants to shut down. Councilmember Waldrop?
Yes.
Councilmember Pryor?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember North?
Yes, with the exception of the minutes.
And Mayor Linder.
Yes, and I will abstain from item number 15, which is the accept the completed work by Blackhall Construction. So we're good, right? So now we will move back to item number 12, which is the resolution approving amendment to joint powers agreement with Western Riverside Council of Governments. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, Mr. Jones. Do you want to read the report, or?
I think we probably just turn it over and have him explain the program.
That's actually what I wanted to do, is since we're on TV, we have a lot of veterans in this town, and I would love you to come up and tell us about the program, and hopefully those folks can take advantage of it. I don't know.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, staff, thanks for having me here this evening. I'm also happy, for the record, not saying anything, if you prefer. I am okay with being on consent. In any case, we are Renovate America is the name of our company, and we offer the HERO program. And what that is, it's property assessed clean energy financing. It will allow the property owners in the city of Taft, for both commercial and residential, to perform energy efficiency upgrades to their homes and to their businesses, and be able to pay that back as a line item on the tax bill over time. So it's a very good program. County of Kern has already adopted, in fact, and we're hoping that you follow suit. I can go into as great or as little a detail as you'd like. We piloted this program in the Western Riverside County through the Western Riverside Council of Governments. I've been operating there for about 20 months now, and we just launched our newest jurisdictions, which is all of San Bernardino County and the unincorporated areas with 24 cities. Just over, 1.1 million homes now represented in the program. We funded to date $106 million in projects just in residential alone, and the commercial component is now gaining some steam as well. We've enabled a lot of people to save a lot of money on their monthly energy bills. We've enabled a lot of contractors to grow their businesses, in some cases double. We've had contractors hire as many as 47 people in the last year to do these home upgrades. So it's just a wonderful program, very good for the community. No risk to the city or to the constituents. It's just a matter of us coming in and passing a resolution tonight, allowing the constituents to be able to take advantage of this voluntary program.
Very good.
Are you leaving some material for us to look at tonight by any chance?
I don't have any material with me that I can leave with you, but I can certainly, I'm happy to email it to you. I have all your emails, and I can send you over some additional information to look at in terms of things that we've done. Our website is fantastic. I mean, that's the direct interface between the contractor community and the actual constituent or homeowner community, to go on there, find out all the information, find out if their property is approved. And I say if the property is approved, this isn't something we approve the actual consumer for. We approve the property. So there's not an income requirement necessarily. There's not a FICO requirement. It is a property-based assessment. So it's all the information is on the website. It's very comprehensive and makes the program very easy.
Do you have a business card you can leave with us?
I certainly do have business cards, yes.
The person who puts solar on the home?
Solar is, of course, that's one of the largest opportunities that we've had people take advantage of. Solar is very big.
Interest rate on that, I understand it's pretty reasonable. How's that work? I think it's a great opportunity for the citizens here in Kern County and the city and the businesses to cut their energy cost, because that's a big part of the person's household bill is utilities.
Correct. Yeah, we've seen, City of Fresno has recently adopted as well, and we've seen cases in that jurisdiction where energy bills have been in excess of $2,500 in a single month. And this program will allow these properties to become much more efficient, and in some cases, hate to use the term off the grid, but at least self-sufficient in terms of providing the majority of their own power.
I'm just looking at when CARB kicks in more, the savings that would help, in the future.
Well, and it's also great for the city, speaking specifically for the city with regards to the AB 32 legislation, right? This will help you go a long ways toward your greenhouse gas reduction quota. So, again, it's very good for all parties.
Can we buy more cows in?
That might be a possibility.
Gentlemen, any other questions? And I would just ask you, if you wouldn't mind, just to introduce yourself.
I'm sorry, my name's Mark Rogers. I'm with the HERO program. I reside in Folsom, California, the once small town of Folsom, California.
Well, Mark, we appreciate you being here for this tonight.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion to adopt the resolution entitled Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft, California, consenting to the inclusion of properties within the city's jurisdiction in the California HERO program to finance distributed generation improvements and electrical vehicle charging infrastructure, and approving the amendment to a certain joint powers agreement related thereto.
Make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
None?
May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember North?
Yes.
Councilmember Waldron?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
And Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you, and that passes 5-0. Item number 16 is grant administrator contract with Acquisition Partners. I know we have a representative here with us, and we thought maybe it would be appropriate for you to introduce yourself and tell us what you're going to do for us.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Sarah Higginbotham with Acquisition Partners, or just APA for short. We've been contracted with the City of Taft since June 2011, and it's been quite a ride. It's been fun to get to learn about the city and do a lot of work for you guys. Some big projects and some little projects. There's definitely been some tight times with grant funding over the last few years, but things are really starting to loosen up. We've noticed, especially with the state, and we've also turned, since state funding has been a little bit tighter and federal funding is getting a little tighter, we've started looking more towards foundation grants, because those have been a lot more available than some of the other grants in the past. So we've kind of changed our business to be looking a lot towards those to benefit the city. And we have been watching a lot of funding sources over the last few months, and it looks like a lot of things are going to start opening up again for 2014, and we just really believe that the City of Taft is positioned well to take advantage of those opportunities. So we're excited for 2014, and we're hoping it's better than 2013. 2013 has been a little bit quiet, but it's been a good regrouping year. And we've also come up with a very good communication plan, I think I can say, with the City of Taft, where we're discussing grants on an every other week basis to make sure that
We have a grant administrator that understands the program.
and we have.
That's the hard part.
I looked for her. She's not here.
She's not here.
Yeah.
She was here all day.
Yeah. We spoke a little while earlier, but so very excited to stay on board with you guys and look forward to doing more work.
Great.
Do you guys have any questions for me about anything?
Can you let them know some of the big things that are coming up, like grant funding opportunities?
Yes.
Like the NOFAs?
There is a ton of money available through the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District that we know about. We've been getting to know the folks there a little bit better. It's kind of easy because our office is located in Fresno and they're also located in Fresno. So we're hoping to be able to get some stuff moving with that. They do a bike paths grant. They do a vehicle grant. They also do some stuff with IT infrastructure stuff, which I'm just now learning about, so I don't want to dive into that too much because I don't want to say something that isn't proper about that. There's also going to be a ton of money for housing coming up next year. And with transportation, I don't know if you guys are aware, but it used to all be done through Tiger, Department of Transportation stuff. It's all MAP 21 starting this year. So it's kind of a transition. You're trying to learn how that program was going to operate and where those grant dollars went. Because some grants that we wanted to go after just simply don't exist anymore, or they got absorbed into bigger pots of money that you have to compete across the board. Like one of the perfect examples is a truck parking facility. So there is still funding for that. It is a project that can be funded through MAP 21, but it competes with a lot of other different projects now, so it's going to be a little bit tougher. But MAP 21 has a lot more money than Tiger did. So, we just have to find the right projects for the right grants.
Very good. Well, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve an agreement with Acquisition Partners in the amount of $3,000 per month plus reasonable expenses to perform grant writing services for the term of 1 calendar year commencing January 1st, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Gentlemen, any further discussion?
I have none. No.
Very good. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Waldrop?
Yes.
Councilmember Pryor?
Yes.
Councilmember North?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. And our last item for the evening is item 17, successor agency due diligence review of the low and moderate income housing fund and the due diligence review of the other funds for the successor agency. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Health and Safety Code Section 34179.5 requires each successor agency to employ a licensed accountant approved by the county auditor controller and with the experience and expertise in local government accounting to conduct a due diligence review to determine the obligated balances for transfer to taxing entities. The due diligence review of the low and moderate housing income housing fund and the due diligence review of other funds must be submitted to the Oversight Board, the Department of Finance, and the State Controller's Office and the County Auditor Controller. Or the Oversight Board can approve the due diligence review of the low and moderate income housing and other funds. A public meeting must be held by the Oversight Board to solicit public comments from any interested member of the public concerning the due diligence review. A public notice was posted in the Daily Midway Drill on October 25th, 2013, and at Taft City Hall. The Oversight Board is scheduled to meet on November 6, 2013 at 2:30 p.m. at the Taft City Hall to receive public comments. Once public comment, if any, is received, the Oversight Board must then wait at least 5 business days before it can hold a second meeting to consider approval of the due diligence review of the low and moderate income housing fund and the due diligence review of other funds. The next meeting of the Oversight Board is scheduled for Wednesday, October 20th at 2:30 p.m. at Taft City Hall. The receipt of public comments is a statutory requirement, and thus, if the Oversight Board fails to solicit and receive public comment, if any, at the meeting, the successor agency and the Oversight Board will be unable to fulfill its legal obligations. Oversight Board agenda and staff reports were sent to the County Auditor Controller and the Department of Finance for comments. There's a lot of tongue twisters in there.
That's a lot. Okay, and I think I understand all of that. This is a discussion only. So help us understand how we're going to make this happen. You need public comment, correct, at this meeting, or at least input?
Just an information item only, I believe.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She just wanted to hear me say all that stuff to you guys.
Wow. That's a lot. Okay, very good. Then, having concluded our open session business tonight, I would entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session. Oh, I guess I got to read that stuff, don't I? See, I have to read too. Okay, so at this time, the City Council will go into closed session. Items discussed tonight will be a conference with property negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code Section 54956.8, undisclosed locations. Item B is a conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9, for consultation with its attorney regarding existing litigation, Sierra Club versus City of Taft and the Taft City Council, Kern County Superior Court case number S-1500-V-271090. Item C is conference with labor negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code Section 54957.6, all units. And item D is conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9, City of Taft versus the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session.
Motion. Second.
We have motion and a second. We are in closed session.